Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from fresh perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 265, Universal Support. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host. I'm here today in my home studio in Orlando, Florida, and recording on a Sunday night, friends, which is very unusual, but I was really feeling guided to record tonight. I had a lot of thoughts on my heart about universal support. So we are here. It is, believe it or not, July 17th. So welcome to mid-July. And if you live in Orlando, you know it is hot. It is a sizzling summer, as it always is here. And believe it or not, friends, again, this is the Authentic Spiritual Journey show 265. That is 265. And we're joining together for a really important topic. The title of today's show is Universal Support. Universal Support. There are a number of reasons I wanted to do this show, and one of them, frankly, is that it is certainly easy right now to feel all alone on the journey. And I have talked with so many people. I've seen a lot online, too, of people that I feel like are in depression, and that depression is causing them to behave in ways that's not their normal. They're attacking others with their words. Sometimes they're going inward and attacking themselves. And friends, I want you to know you're not alone on this journey. I want you to know that you have the support of the universe. And I often say you are 100% supported by the universe. And friends, I believe this. I believe you are 100% supported by the universe. And what is the universe? It is the energy of life itself. Many call it God. It goes by many, many names. Some call it the ethers. If you're a scientist, you might call it black matter, but I call it God, and I often call it the universe, because sometimes that word God denotes a guy with a long gray beard and a big gold G on for God. And when I say universe, it gives me a much more expanded idea of what the word God might mean, right? So the universe, it just gives me the image of space, of planets, and yet of pure unconditional love, of healing light. And so this is the word I'm using today, universal support. And I believe you are 100% supported by the universe. 100%. I've said this many, many times over the course of my life and my ministry. And sometimes I'll have these little moments where I go, oh yeah, that's right. The universe is supporting me. And so I'm sure you've heard it said, you are 100% supported by the universe. And if you're a logical person, you're going to say, well, if this is true, why is life so hard? Right? Why is life so hard? If I'm really supported by the universe, why is life so hard? Well, you see, part of why we expect life to be easy is Hollywood has given us a fantasy. It's taught us a fantasy that life should look perfect and be perfect, right? We know that. We know how that is, that although what happens on the screen in front of us is not really what happens in our lives, it doesn't even happen for the actors that play those parts, right? So you turn on the TV, you watch a show or a sitcom, you know that you're going to be given a problem and that problem is going to be solved within 30 minutes or an hour, right? Before the show is over, all will be well. And so we expect life to be like that. And sometimes I want to go, well, why can't life be like that? Well, I'm not saying life can't be fun. The opposite is true. I don't want you to be discouraged by what I'm saying, but what I want to talk about is that to really know, to really vibe with, to really experience universal support, we have to come out of denial of this fantasy. And what I mean by that is life has its ups and downs. Our journey has its wins and losses. Our journey has its strengths and stretches. Our journey will include times where we're not matching up to where we want to be, maybe physically, maybe emotionally, maybe all of the above, right? And so it can feel like when those times happen, well, I'm doing something wrong or life is against me. And what I want us to come back to, the idea is that to really live an abundant life, to really live a life that is supported by the universe, where we are aware that we're supported by the universe, that we are going to have times where we have to wake up to the fact that it's not going to be rosy. It's not going to be, I get this next rung on the ladder. And in fact, life's journey will take us places we don't expect. So knowing that, realizing that, but in the midst of all of that, we want to seek to be conscious beings. Basically, in my journey, friends, I have decided I want to be a conscious being. When I was really young, I started learning about this idea of kind of waking up and becoming conscious, although nobody was using those words. But my dad had sat me down at one point and said to me, now, honey, and now, friends, I'm the youngest of a lot of kids. And my dad sat me down and said, now, honey, I want you to learn from the mistakes of your older brothers and sisters. And by that, I mean, don't make their mistakes, make your own. In other words, watch what they do and learn from their mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes, but you don't have to make the same ones they did. He said, you have the benefit of being last. And when he told me that, I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I never forgot it. And I started noticing certain things that were going on. And I grew up in the 70s, right? So I was born in the late 60s, grew up in the 70s. So there was a lot of, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I was really surrounded by that environment. If it feels good, do it. Keep on trucking. All those kinds of statements and ideas. So there was a lot of free love going on around me. And I had, many ways, a wonderful family. But I also had an environment at times of abuse, an environment at times of alcohol and drug addiction. And so by my dad saying that, I realized that I didn't have to do the things that I saw everyone around me doing. So it was a time of waking up for me slowly as I watched what they were doing, which was very normal in general for their age and being in high school during that time, right? So I was a kid when my older siblings were in high school. So I saw a lot of different kinds of behaviors. I saw drunk driving, through some of their friends. And, it was a time where there was just a lot of alcohol and marijuana coming onto the scene. And later, of course, the harder drugs. There was also LSD, cocaine, all those kinds of things. So with my dad giving me that bit of advice, I think I realized that I had a choice. And my choice was to either go unconscious or to try to become conscious. So all of the work that I do in my life, in the church, on the podcast, in my one-on-one coaching sessions, is all about helping people become conscious beings. And I do that through my own work, through a reflection of my own work, through working my own process and my own journey. And once I have the learning, I can bring it to my clients, to my friends, to my family. And I learn from my friends and my family as well. So I'm saying all this, friends, because this most definitely has to do with what I'm talking about today. And the thing I'm talking about today is coming out of denial and realizing I have the support of the universe. One of the ways at a young age I started coming out of denial was realizing that I didn't have to be in addiction. And my dad, with that great advice, even though it was fantastic advice, he was still drinking very, very heavily. He had some physical challenges and he was self-medicating with alcohol. And he ended up dying very young because he smoked and drank his whole life. He still had so much wisdom, but he could not pull himself out of addiction. Well, as I saw that and I saw some other people in the family drinking and using drugs, I decided this is not for me. This is not for me. And I began going to meetings. One of my older siblings got in recovery, and I began to hear about the God of my understanding and things like that. And I began to awaken to the fact that I had a choice. Friends, you have a choice as well. You don't have to live in some fantasy that if life isn't perfect, you're bad or doing it wrong. I want you to be able to choose consciousness and realize that life is full of its ups and downs, that life is full of surprises, and that as you understand how to view these things that happen in life, that you're going to feel and know the support of the universe in a brand new way. And I think because we've been sold this idea of a fantasy, that it's hard to pull yourself up and out of that idea and begin to learn that life is a journey of growth. Life is a journey of conscious awareness. Life is a journey to help us grow, to prosper, and to evolve. So, friends, you are 100% supported by the universe. And what we're seeking to do on the spiritual journey is to understand life from a higher perspective. So as I'm saying this, please don't be discouraged. What I said earlier about, life is hard and Hollywood sells us a fantasy. It's fun to watch problems in an hour. What we don't want to do is beat ourselves up if our life is not perfect at the end of a half hour or an hour, right? We want to understand that as we are becoming more conscious, as we are growing up on the spiritual journey, that as we experience life and live life from this higher perspective, that we begin to view life and what happens in life in a whole new way. That we can see that the nature of the universe is to grow. Science even tells us that the universe itself, like space itself, is expanding and growing daily. So in other words, nothing is static. If you look out your window, no matter where you live, like even if you live in the desert, the wind blows, the sand moves and tumbles. Things grow, they die, new things grow again. Seasons come and go. There's dust storms, there's times of stillness, there's times of heat, there's times of cool, right? Everything in nature is always growing, changing, and moving. The same is true for us in our life. In our lives, this is also true. And I find that one of the best ways to understand the spiritual journey is to look at nature, because we, in fact, are nature ourselves. That literally some of the same elements that are in Earth itself literally are in our bodies. So we are not disconnected from the Earth or from the universe itself. We are an intimate and integrated part of the larger whole. We are an integrative part of the larger whole. And we are an important part of what happens in our own lives, in our own family, and in fact, even in the world, because of how intimately connected we are. So I want to bring us back to the idea of today. I am 100% supported by the universe. I had a dear friend who was fond of saying, in life's hard situations, this can only bless me. This can only bless me. And he would say that when his personality self, his limited mind, was only seeing a problem and could not see through to how was this support from the universe. And so I want to talk a little bit now about how to begin to look through a different lens as we see things happen, because we've been taught to see things from the personality self. In other words, we've been taught to see the world through likes and dislikes. My friend, Sister Jenna, talks about looking at life through body awareness or through soul awareness. That's how she differentiates it. So think about that. How are you walking through life? Is it about what I like and dislike? Is it about what I want or don't want? Or is it about when something shows up, how is this in my highest good? Are you asking, are you saying, thank you, universe, for bringing this to me? Or are you resisting whatever's coming up for you at this time? And what's so amazing, friends, about this idea is that none of us get out of planet Earth without some growth involved. And so the decision becomes, am I going to resist this growth, or am I going to try to flow and even embrace this change that is bringing this growth to me? Because really what I'm talking about is how to navigate through change, right? How to see and experience the universe's support as I navigate through this change. So think about what I said earlier, though, that no matter who we are, it doesn't matter what our age is or where we're born or even where on planet Earth we live, we are going to have the ups and downs of life. We are going to have the ups and downs of life. We're going to have births. We're going to have deaths. We're going to have times of abundance and times where we don't think there's enough. So what we want to seek to do is to live from this higher perspective and say, this can only bless me. Or the universe supports me 100%. Or I want to see how the universe is supporting me through this. In other words, God show me, universe show me. And sometimes the things that we're calling difficult are the greatest moments of growth for us. And that's what I mean by looking at things from a higher perspective. This is what I mean by looking at things from a higher perspective. If you think about it, look at a plant that grows. And I was just planting something in my yard the other day, and it is so wonderful to watch that first little sprig of green come up from the ground, and from that dark earth see green. And you know that what you're seeing, that growth had to bust out of a tiny seed, move through all that soil, and finally surface. Well, you can imagine that it takes a great deal of energy for that plant to do that. And the same is true for us. Sometimes it takes a great deal of energy to move into the next level. And so as we're doing that and as we're having these difficulties, it really helps to know that the universe is actually supporting you by providing the opportunity to grow. Sometimes my prayer is, thank you, God, for this opportunity to grow. I don't know how to move through it yet, but I trust you'll guide me. God, I don't know what this is, but I know you're going to show me. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to grow and to evolve into my next phase of being. Thank you, God, for bringing me into a new level of awareness of who I am and what is mine to do. Sometimes I will also say, God, I don't understand what's happening. Please give me the wisdom and guidance to move through. I want to feel your support in this. And then what will happen as I get these thoughts in my mind, as I begin to embrace this idea? A call will come in, or a friend will send me a note, or I'll get some unexpected blessing in some form I wasn't expecting. And I go, there it is. There's the universal support. But first, I have to prepare my mind, my heart, even my body and soul to receive that good and that blessing by getting those thoughts on board that the universe actually does support me. And I'm talking about, the hard pieces. What's so amazing is as you begin to trust and you get through that growth point, well, you get to rest for a moment and be in joy, and you get to start to integrate this new way of being, or integrate this new change. And you see all that work was worth it. And now you get to experience the joy, the pleasure, the fun of doing all that work. And you go, oh, life really is full of joy. And then when you're past that, that change or that initial growth, you can look back now, you're in a new vantage point, and you can go, oh, now I see how that experience led to this very moment. And this is my hope for you, friend, that you can begin to feel, that you can begin to know, that you can begin to embrace. The universe supports me 100%. And you might say, are you crazy? What about this? What about that? Yes, the universe supports you 100%. Remembering that the universe is always growing, always expanding, and this is what we are called to do, to grow and expand. We are called to become conscious beings. To be conscious means I'm more aware of myself. I'm more aware of my behaviors. I'm more aware of how my thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and ideas are impacting my life and world. The universe supports you 100%. The universe supports me 100%. Be encouraged that the universe supports you 100%. Part of the spiritual discipline of this idea is working with this on a daily basis. Part of the spiritual discipline of this idea is working with this on a daily basis. It is using your own form, your own affirmation of this central idea that you're supported, so that when life happens, you aren't thrown off center. My hope is that no matter what life sends, you will be able to find a spiritual lesson in it to help you grow and move forward. There was this old teacher of New Thought ideas, and she used to say, this too is good. This too is God. And I demand to see the blessing in it. And that is the idea of universal support. Now, as I'm saying all this, it might sound like I'm being negative and that universal support always means it's hard. What I'm saying is that when life gets hard, call on the universal support, because life is going to have moments that are difficult. So why is life hard? Because that is the nature of life. But when we begin to apply the spiritual principles that I'm 100% supported by the universe, that life is meant to be full of joy and love and peace, that when something happens that serves a little bit as a wake-up call or, shocks us into the moment, that we can begin to use these spiritual principles to say, how can I grow through this? If life brought this to my door, there must be a reason. Life is not against me. I am 100% supported by the universe. So why is this here for me at such a time? We want to remember to tap into this idea on a daily basis. Work with this idea See how you can develop your personal relationship with all that is. Because God is not a guy up on a throne in the sky. God is this ever-expanding presence and reality that made all we see. It is this continually expanded awareness that is forgiveness itself. It is love itself. It is creation itself. And our work is to tap into that energy, to remember it is always with us and always supporting us, remembering that we are not alone, that we are 100% supported by the universe, and we are seeking to be conscious. We are seeking to live life from this higher perspective. So, friend, please be encouraged by this. Life can be full of joy and love. And also we know life is full of the journey that is up and down. Sometimes it's an adventure. Sometimes it's difficult. But that every time it's up and down, it's the universe calling us to grow. And that as we rely on this energy, as we remember it, as we hold on to it, as we seek to know it, that we're going to have a knowing, a faith, a surety, a calm, a peace about what our next steps are, and that we're supported in taking those steps because we know we are 100% supported by the universe. The universe is always working on our behalf. The spiritual work is to see it, to know it, and to call it forth. So that as we move through whatever change we might be experiencing right now, we're gonna get to the other side of it. We're gonna see the joy in it all. We're gonna be able to see from this vantage point. We can look back and say, you know what? That growth was worth it. That growth has paid off. That growth has brought me to a new level of awareness with myself. It's brought me to a new level of awareness of my thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and ideas. And I am growing. I am prospering. I am evolving. And friends, this is what we are here to do. My hope for you as you go throughout the days and weeks ahead is that you're working with this idea on a deeper level. If there's a reaction in you, if there's something difficult that comes up, you rely on that support. And if life is going well, affirm that support. I am 100% supported by the universe, and I am grateful. I am 100% supported by the universe, and I give thanks. I am 100% supported by the universe, and I help others because I'm experiencing so much good right now. But always know you are 100% supported by the universe, that God is your source. Always, you are loved, you are supported, and you are blessed. Friends, hang in there. You're not alone. You have the support of me, of this show, of the very many listeners, and of the universe itself. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support, for being with us today along your journey. We are honored. We are blessed to be a part of it. And we thank you for all your support, financial and otherwise, to stay on the air. So we thank you. We bless you for all that you are. And we hope you are supported by the show and by the work we do here at the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. So blessings on the journey, dear friend. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.